the hardest top 5 to make, my favourite 98 square inch rackets. It's a minefield. Let's give it a go. 98 square inch rackets. That is what we're talking about today, and I'm trying to come up still with my top 5 favourite options. Now, a 98 square inch racket, obviously that's the head size, and generally, if you compare it to a 100 square inch head, which is probably the more common size in the sort of commercial market, slightly smaller head size, smaller sweet spot, but nicer sweet spot, more control, slightly less spin, and generally a better connection to the ball. Now, many of the brands have 98 and 100 square inch options of the same racket. Think Ezone, think Gravity, think Pure Drive. So I've looked around and thought, what head size should that racket be? Does it improve at the 98, or is it actually trying to be something that it's not, to help try and come up with my particular favorites? Now, as always, my top 5 is my personal preference. These are ones that I've really got on with when I've used them. A little disclaimer, as generally a 100 square inch racket user, I tend to love 98s when a power string is put in them. So without trying to give too much away, I've tested many of these rackets before and maybe not liked them with a control string, but as I've livened up the string bed, the 98 sort of comes alive. You get that lovely control when you're opening up with a longer swing, but you get a little bit of extra pop when you tighten up defending with that slightly more open string pattern with that powerful string in there. Think something like a Restring Zero. So anyway, that is my prelude. Let's get in to my top 5. In at number 5, as you can see, I have a head Radical, but which one, I hear you ask? This is the Pro, the heavy option, the 315 gram, 315 mil balance point, still with a 1619 string pattern. Now, the Radical on the whole, this new one, is a really, really nice frame. The reason why it's number 5 and not higher is that for me it lacks a little bit of punch. Whilst a versatile racket and you can really play with it in multiple styles, if you try and shorten up and tighten up your swing, it doesn't really do that much for you. However, when you start to need some maneuverability, some racket speed, whipping it around the court, the added weight gives you that bit more bite to your shots, and it still maintains quite good maneuverability. It doesn't feel like a racket as heavy as it is. And that is why the Radical Pro is number 5 on my list. So a nice option. If you use the Radical Pro, congrats. You almost have one of the best 98 rackets. In at number 4, we have the Technafiber Tight 305S. S for sharp. All their 98s have the S, and it is a beautiful, beautiful racket. Now, when we first reviewed the Tight, we were a little bit uncertain. The previous generation was super fun, really head heavy. You could get so much spin, whip it around the court, throw it around, and just absolutely rip the board to pieces. This new version is much more sensible, and therefore it is a better racket, maybe a less fun racket, but it is a better racket. Like I was saying at the top about string choice, for me, this racket might be one of the most sensitive to string choices out there. We started, when we first tested this, with black code, and then we've progressed through to more and more powerful options, and when we play tested this against, I think, the Gravity Tour, another good 98, but honourable mention, it's not in the list, with some Restring Zero, suddenly it came alive a bit. It gave you a little bit more of that T-fight sort of explosive power and fun that you expected, but with this new balance of control that they've brought in. By changing that balance point, it makes it a much more all-rounders racket, still very maneuverable, still ability to throw it around, and that is why the new T-fight 305S, not the 300, not the 315, the 305, is my 4th favourite 98 square inch racket of the time. In at number 3, we have the first entry from Babolat. It is the Aero 98. One of the few rackets actually used by the player that endorses it. Carlos Alcaraz uses the 98 in its stock form, with a little bit of weight added, of course. So the racket actually used by Carlos Alcaraz, this Aero 98, and it is a beautiful, beautiful racket. You get the expectation from an Aero, you get power, you get spin, you get punch, but with that 98, it reins it in a bit, so you get that lovely bit of control and maneuverability that you need to play an all-court game. Alcaraz, probably the modern day version of that real all-court player. We've got drop shots, we've got coming to the net, as well as being able to grind and attack from the baseline. The Aero itself has been out for a little while now, so we're expecting maybe a new Aero soon, early next year. But for now, this current version is brilliant. The balance between power control and spin is really great. It's certainly my favourite of all the Aero range, on top of the Aero 100s, the 300 gram version, which would be probably the most popular. But those people that use the Aero 98 know what I'm talking about. This Aero 98 is fantastic, and that is why it made it to number 3 on my list. In at number 2, in second place, the silver medal goes to the Wilson Blade 98 1619. Now I had options here. I could have picked the 1820. I could have also picked it in its green colorway, but I have gone for the Roland Garros limited edition orange, I guess. I think it is super smart, iconic for modern day control. It's a little bit stiff, so you can still get some punch, but it has that beautiful 98 plush feeling as you're trying to move your opponent around the court. The racket does exactly what you expect it to do. And now this is what a great 98 frame does. It doesn't dampen your shots, it doesn't overly control them. It equally doesn't explode and go too much, more than you expected. The blade gives you exactly what you put in, it gives you what you deserve. And that is why it is on my list. Now, the 1820, a very nice racket, a little bit more for flatter players, a longer swing. A 1619, if you're a bit whippier, trying to get more revs on the ball, that more open string pattern is the more popular, and I think on balance would be my preference between the two, which is why the Blade 98 1619 in this lovely limited edition colorways comes in at number 2. The moment you have been waiting for, my current favorite 98 square inch racket. You can see my top 4 behind me. At number 1, could there be any doubt? It is the brand new Yonex Ezone 98. It could have been the 98 Tour, but we haven't had it yet. It's honestly, we got a few when they came in, they've all gone out. We're not getting it again for many months, so I couldn't test it to make sure. But for now, the Ezone 98, again, it has been the most popular racket of the year since January. We have sold more Ezone 98s than any other racket. The feedback from all players, myself included, is the balance between power and control and the accessibility to the power is just phenomenal. On the 100, I found it a bit too much. Sweet spot a bit too big, a bit too lively. The 98 just tames it down nicely. The extra bit of weight at 305 grams just gives you a bit more stability. You can play a short punchy game. You can open up and really try and attack. This Ezone can do it all. For those players who have tried it will know what I'm talking about, because almost everyone that tries it gets one. So if you haven't tried it and you don't want to buy one, don't try it. But if you're open to giving it a go, I highly recommend it. It's a brilliant racket, great new bit of tech. We have the Minilon in the throat, which is made from bagworms over in Japan, that really changes the feeling. It's a very unique feeling racket. It is superb, and much to Joe's enjoyment, it is the current number 1 on my top 5 98 square inch rackets. There you have it. I was agonizing over this video for a long time, but here are my top 5 98 square inch rackets, finishing off with this brand new Ezone 98. Now there were some that got close. Gravity Tour got close, Babolat Pure Drive 98 got close, the Strike got close. But this is what I settled on for a range of reasons, mostly focused on playability. As always, I'm sure you disagree with me. I'm sure you're thinking, Josh, how can you not have the Gravity 98 Tour in there? How can you not have this? Put your own list in the comments. Tell me what your top 5 is and why, which ones you'd replace out of mine, and let's start a conversation. Let's see who has the most popular list. Is it me or is it you? Thank you very much for watching. Please give us a like and a subscribe, and we will see you soon on the next video.